Welcome back, everybody. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, so far, so good.
Did you tear down this toilet?
I did.
Holy shit, I didn't know that.
Well, holy shit.
Literally.
Toilet's gone. Yeah, you were complaining about it, so I removed it in the
I
last
wasn't
episode.
really complaining.
I figured, what better did I have to do than remove a toilet?
Yeah. So how's things in the hospital life going?
It's amazing. The hospital not crazy.
Really?
It's not hospital like from a perspective of amount of patients. Not crazy. People are actually seeing, like, I was at the fire department last night, and we had to transfer a couple of people. Like, I was on the engine, driving the engine, but we had a medic as the officer, so he had to upgrade a couple of calls, like legit calls. Like, people had to get transported because they were legitimately having a problem, not your typical like, oh, I have toe pain, take me to the hospital, type call that happens. But we got to the hospital, like the emergency departments, they were empty.
Huh.
I think people are actually like, well, I need to stay away from these places.
I mean, they're probably afraid to go to those places too, right?
Do you have a fortune pick on you?
Yeah.
Can you hit those? I don't want to waste.
Well,
really? Some bitch. I still need one more. I need to repair my pick, and I figured that would at least give me 3.
I have fortune 3 too. Isn't that the top you can get?
I think so. I don't actually remember. I'll be honest. Other things that are happening at my hospital, they keep changing like the screening criteria for all this stuff because it's ever evolving. But they're not doing their due diligence when they're trying to implement these changes. They're not doing communication appropriately when they're implementing these changes. They're kind of like rushing them out there, and on more than one occasion, including today right now, it's probably still all messed up. They broke a bunch of stuff, so all these random like isolation orders were firing on patients for no reason. It was saying that they were suspected of COVID, even though they're not. It was broken. That was broken with it, and now there's no way to fix it except for manually going back and fixing it now. So it was a mess for like multiple hours, and then just the way that they're dealing with or not dealing with allowing people to telework so that you can flatten the curve.
Right.
It's that stuff's still going haywire, but other than that, it's fine. Did you go back down here?
No, I'm watching these bees kill themselves.
Oh, are they in the water?
Yeah.
How are things in your neck of the woods?
I mean, I guess they're fine. Schools are canceled. Spring break got canceled as well.
Here.
Oh.
Your cruise?
Well, you know what's funny is my spring break. Oh, that one.
Are you serious?
No, that one was 3. It was 3.
Oh. I could have just had that one.
Yeah, right. The school canceled and spring break canceled before the cruise canceled.
But did the cruise cancel?
It did.
Okay.
It'll probably get extended, but it resumes operation literally the day after mine departs. So like I was within 1 day of it not being canceled, but it wouldn't have mattered because their spring break got canceled. So they
what do you mean spring break got canceled?
They canceled school for the rest of this month, and now they're calling this spring break.
Oh wow! I mean, I need 38 levels to enchant this thing. Holy crap!
I only have 27. Yeah. So like, spring break is no longer happening when it was supposed to. Now this is spring break, which kind of sucks for the kids, right? But I mean, they were gonna have to make up this time anyways. So like,
well, and with all the schools that were closed, I kept asking people, do you know, are they doing it online, or are they doing makeups? And I know some places are doing online.
So this week is spring break. So like, it started on Monday. And then next week is not spring break, but the schools are still closed. And I have a packet of things I printed out where it's basically homeschooling. So it's not online. I mean, it is online in the term in the thing that I go online to print these things out. But there's no like live streamed instructions or anything like that. There's none of that going on. The teachers can technically, I mean, we use apps for stuff anyways.
But they're not counting that as school?
I don't know. The superintendent did a PSA yesterday, and he basically said, we don't know what any of this means yet. So it doesn't sound like they're counting it as school right now. I don't know. I mean, like a lot of parents, so here's an example. for years they always had like a reading log where they would bring home this log, and then you would write in there like, and you had to read at least 3 books a night, depending on your grade level, and then after that it was a certain number of pages a night. Jesus,
Okay.
these fucking mobs are so loud. Has my sound stuff changed? Hold on a second. I just have to deal with this. It's just nothing's changed. I'm so loud. Couldn't think straight. So this year they changed it where they no longer sent this stuff home because so many parents just weren't doing it. So they moved it into in school that the reading log happens, because otherwise it just wasn't happening. There wasn't like there was no negative recourse. Like if your kids weren't reading the way they were supposed to at home, they just didn't get like prizes basically. But it was more like a please do this, and then a lot of parents were just like nah. So
Nah, that's all right.
I don't know how many parents are going to take this whole thing seriously either. Like, where, all right, this is your child's schoolwork. Like what I told my daughter basically is next week, we're going to treat each day like a school day. Like you're going to get up and you're going to have a structure just like you would a school day. We'll do all your schoolwork, and we'll do recess. We'll do lunchtime. We'll do everything like you would, resource, art, whatever, just like you would at a normal day of school. So I'm gonna at least structure my own house like it is a school next week, because I think that it's important to kind of keep a routine.
But she has had a week off, so this week's off.
Right. This week is spring break,
Okay.
where she gets no travel for spring break. Sit at home spring break, and then next week is homeschooling, I guess. You know what's interesting about this? At least I found it funny and interesting. Crystal, not so much. I don't know if you remember this. I know you and I talked about it. I don't know if it got talked about in an episode. But last year, the way our divorce agreement is worded is the parent whose every year it is, even or odd year, that gets the child for spring break, gets the child for spring break until school resumes from spring break. So last year we got in an argument because Crystal went out of state, and there was 2 teacher work days the next week after spring break, and she was like, so you don't get her until Wednesday. And I'm like, that's kind of bullshit, because the school week starts back on Monday, even though the teachers are the only ones there. I was like, the school is starting back. She's like, well, she's not going to school, so it's still my time to keep her for spring break. And my literal argument last year was, what if there was a national emergency and school just didn't start back? Are you saying that you would keep her forever?
So you started this?
I mean, apparently I predicted it last year on accident. But it's really funny because that was my literal argument was, and then she was like, well, that's so far-fetched, that's never going to happen. And I was like, yeah, I know it's not, but I'm just giving an example of how this divorce agreement is so poorly worded, because technically, until school starts back, whatever parent has her at the start of spring break keeps her forever.
And now say, and if next year, what if Jeff wins the lottery for some odd reason?
Right? But I brought this up to Crystal this year, and she didn't find the humor in it like I did, because this year spring break has started, and it's school's not going back indefinitely. So,
well,
it's just mine forever.
I guess when the backwards argument to that is, well, the teachers were back at school, but the students weren't doing schoolwork. But is homeschooling considered school starting? Like, what's considered school in session?
I don't know. The whole thing's very poorly worded. It literally says until the child returns to school.
And what if you were not supposed to have her next week?
I'm not supposed to have her next week.
No, sorry, this week.
Okay.
Would you?
Well, that's
if she argued it, not saying that she would have, but if she argued, would you have all of a sudden have to drop everything and give her back because it was spring break?
I mean, it's my year to have her for spring break, but I guess so. Like, let's say she was at Crystal's house. I would have to be like, all right, well, now this week is suddenly spring break. Like, I need her, basically. Or vice versa. If this was her year to have her for spring break and it was my week, suddenly I'd be like, all right, well, I guess now it's spring break, so here you go. Yeah, that's basically what legally what's supposed to be happening.
I didn't even think about how many messy divorce families could be dealing with this, and it's so much more of an issue than like a normal family or a family without kids right now because of rules like that.
Right. I mean, yeah, there's probably tons of other scenarios that are way outside of the things I'm even thinking about that I have to deal with. But like, even like, we haven't argued at least about this. I thought it was funny because I brought it up last year. She was like, "This would never happen," and then it happened a year later.
Did you say something to her and she just said "ha ha"? Like that was the end of it?
No. I said something like, "How hilarious is that I predicted the future a year ago?" Whatever I said. What if there was a national emergency and the school's closed, and then whoever had the child for spring break, we had to keep her forever. So I guess she's mine forever now. And
did she respond?
She did not respond at all. I talked to her husband about it, and her husband.
She's probably showing it to a lawyer right now, going,
right? What does this mean?
It's legit.
Yeah. I wanted to email my lawyer and say the same thing, but he's no longer on retainer, so I don't want him to like charge me. Just like I don't even have any questions. I just wanted him to get a good giggle out of it, really. Because I sent him the same thing last year. I was like, "What if this happened? What if there was a scenario?" But yeah, I never ever would have expected it, and the fact that it fell on spring break too. So like because that's the only one that's worded like that. Every other one has a date or the next Sunday or this day following this thing, like after Easter, or not, Easter's not one, but after Christmas or after Thanksgiving. There's set days that these transitions happen. The only one that's not the case with is spring break, and it's totally dependent on school starting back, which again is just fucking dumbly worded.
So, it's so funny because I wish more places would adopt this. And though I can't say that they do it perfectly either, but the concept of it. So, because I'm sure what it is that the intent was that if spring break is like a week and a half, you're supposed to be able to have your child for the entirety of spring break. You don't have to cut it short just because it's like 1 week is all that they're saying it is.
Right.
Or, so I'm sure that's what the intent of it is, but the way it's worded, just clearly it can be up for interpretation on what it really means. And I know the ONC, who does a lot of the rule writing for electronic health record stuff and like meaningful use requirements and are promoting interoperability, whatever the hell it's called now, they do this weird thing where they will put out a rule, and when the rule gets like, if there's confusion on the rule, they will put out something later and do what do they call it, like an intent. They put it like in a sidebar of what the intent of it is, so that also becomes part of the rule. It's like, this is the rule, and if there's all of a sudden ambiguity in here, read the intent and understand what it was supposed to be implying, and then that's the regulation that you're supposed to follow. Like, how would a reasonable person regard this intent that we've added now next to it to say, like, do this? I
mean, last year I was ready to go to court over it just because I didn't want to like fight her over those extra 2 days. Like, she's going to Arkansas to see family or whatever. Like, fine, that's fine, whatever. I mean, I did have like an Easter basket, and it falls around Easter and stuff, and one might already get her Easter basket and all that sort of stuff. But like, I did want to go to court. When I talked to my lawyer about the cost, he was basically like, "This isn't worth." Like, he's like, "This is going to cost a fortune just to get someone to give you, But I was like, "This is something's going to
like, just to get me to do this will cost a fortune."
I just wanted to know, like, really, like, how really should it be, like, what, because I feel like it's going to come up more than once, and I mean, hell, now it's come up in a much bigger way. But I mean, I don't think we're not going to fight about this, at least. Like, basically what what we talked about yesterday was she's just going to stay over here until this is all like sorted.
Well, because she still has to work, right?
So far, yes. And so does her husband.
Banks are supposed to stay. Like, she's a bank person, right?
Right.
Bank person. Yeah, they're supposed to stay open for the time being. I do think it's really odd that they're like, everybody telework, blah blah blah. Like, but grocery stores.
I mean, grocery stores have to stay open, though, right? No,
I get it, but that is not what you would think about in the concept of the exempt people from the, you should be teleworking. It's like, nope, you should be there, as the grocery store is the important piece right now, which is just not something that you think about when you think about essential jobs.
Right. I mean, I guess it depends on how you're defining essential, right? Because like, food's pretty essential.
Oh no, I mean, I agree with you. I get it. But, when 9/11 happened, I don't think that they were like, grocery store workers, like, you guys don't get the day off because people still need their groceries.
Right.
It was like the place, the country was shut down for a series of days until, we.
Right. Like, I don't know how long, like, as of right now, the school's closed until the end of this month. I feel like that's going to get extended. And that's what I think the custody stuff might get a little bit tricky. Because I'll be honest, if she goes to Crystal's house, I don't want her to come back here bringing the virus to my house.
Yeah. God, that does bring some weird situations up, especially with parents who share children and all. As if you're going to, because I'll be honest, in my family, I'm definitely the first one that's getting this. My hospital's not letting us work from home for whatever reason, like the people who don't need to be there on site. So I'm at the hospital. I'm also still, going to the fire department stuff because those services are essential, and even though it's volunteer, it's still we're there with a job to do in a community to serve. I'm clearly going to be the first line person in my family that's going to come down with it.
Right.
But I am coming home to my family, which is scary enough. But at least we're still all together and in this together, as opposed to be like, nope, kids are with me for a week to get all the germs that I'm bringing home and then go back to the house that's been sequestered.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'm not leaving my house, period. Like, we are not going outside this house until, I have to, basically. Like, I have enough food. I could stay here for.
Are you letting the live-in girlfriend come in and out?
No. She's actually left to go to New York City.
What?
Yeah, she's a dumbass. We can talk about that in a minute. But, I mean, yeah, I don't let anyone meet my daughter until I've been dating them at least 6 months. So, yeah, my daughter's not going anywhere, so no one else is coming in the house. But no, I mean, I'm not letting anyone that's been outside in either. My grandma just started like, now's a good time for me to get like 3 doctor's appointments. I think she called me today and she's like, I got an eye doctor appointment.
She's like, nobody was. All the appointments were open.
Yeah. She called me today and she's like, I decided to get an eye appointment on Friday. What time are you available? And I'm like, not at all. And I'm like, I'm not leaving this house. Like, what is wrong with you? I was like, I'm not taking you to the eye doctor. And she got really upset. She's like, what do you mean you're not leaving the house? And I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to stay away from everyone so that I don't spread this. There's no reason for me to go anywhere at this point. Like, I have nowhere to go. And
what is happening down here?
What do you mean?
Like, what are you doing?
I got rid of the stuff that wasn't stone.
Oh, okay. It just looks like a weird, like, we're doing some patchwork in the middle of the
night. But she's like, oh, people are driving up and down the street constantly. I'm like, well, good for them. More power to them.
I'm one of those people.
I mean, yeah, people have to get out or whatever, and that's fine. But like, I don't have to, so why should I? It's kind of my logic on it all. Like, I'm not going to contribute to the spread, I guess. And I'm definitely not going to take her out and about to go get it as well. So I don't know.
Well, she's the susceptible population that you're looking at. Like, that's a little scary.
Oh, she doesn't care. She wants it so bad she can't stand it.
Oh, well then, hell, let her go enjoy her possibly last.
Get that eye appointment and enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be the one to text her. I mean, she, like I said, she's been calling on the Grim Reaper for a long time now. So this to her is like, finally, the time has come. So
she's like, they shut down the world just for me.
But yeah, I don't know. I just don't know how long like schools are going to be out and stuff. And I feel like if this goes on, like if they cancel school for all of April too, Crystal's probably going to be less likely to be like, just keep the child.
Right.
So 2 weeks, I think is one thing, but
that'll get a little interesting when it. And I did hear today, but you'll hear so much stuff now. I never know what is based on an actual legitimate statement that somebody made, like somebody in power made, versus somebody's speculation. But I heard that they were talking about it being till August.
Yeah, well, he said that in a press conference. Trump did.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, yesterday, the press conference that happened on Monday.
And I was like, damn. I was like, that's a little ways out.
Well, that's a weird, arbitrary month to name whenever it doesn't match anything that's been done in any other country or anything. Like, it'd be one thing if, like, China got it 6 months ago and they're just now coming out of quarantine, but they got it and now they're leaving quarantine. So, but I guess it's totally different there, whereas they shut everything down and we're never going to be able to do that.
Right. It'll be really interesting to see. And how it's going to affect the election.
Well, I mean, you saw some states cancel the election, right?
No, like the
primaries. Yes, yeah. Several states have canceled their primaries. That were supposed to. But what about today.
real election, the one that matters,
I mean, it can be postponed. Um, that's definitely something that can happen legally, but I don't think it can't be canceled indefinitely. But by November, I feel like if we're still in the state that we're in right now, then things have gone horribly wrong. Right?
I agree. I mean, I think part of what you have to concern yourself with now, and this is not coming from virology or anything like that. Like, I don't know, but you constantly hear about things getting, mutating and all. Like, what is this thing going to just keep a consistent strain and we're fine with it, or is there a concern that it's spreading so fast that it could easily like mutate?
I don't know about that sort of thing. I don't know anything about that to even speak on it. I mean, I know that didn't happen with SARS, right? And that SARS is a coronavirus.
Yeah, but that kept so contained.
It didn't really. It just depends on where you look at it.
In the face,
looking directly in the eyeball. Yeah, that didn't. I mean, it didn't. It did get contained here. It did not spread like it did, like Corona is spreading. I think the reason why Corona has spread the way it has, I believe. I mean, you've read about the woman in Washington that was like the only reason why we knew we had cases as early as we did is because someone basically went against all instruction and started testing people in Washington whenever she wasn't supposed to be.
That's true. So we just wouldn't have really known.
Right. I mean, this could have been here for a long time, and we just would have refused to test. I mean, I was reading a thing yesterday about a place in Italy where they tested 3,000 people, and like some percentage, it was a high percentage. It was like 20-some%. God, I wish I had the article in front of me, so I was just
positive.
Yeah, they were positive, but they had no symptoms at all. They would not have known if they hadn't been tested.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess that makes me feel. I just being in such an unknown scenario, I always just look at those things and I'm like, we're finally getting a hold of something. Please don't turn direction. Please don't turn direction. Please don't turn direction.
Right. Well, here's the thing.
I'm not saying that we're actually getting a hold of it. The world, I think, is starting to realize how to get a hold of it.
Right.
We're not there yet.
Until there's a vaccine
that we're going to buy from Germany and only give to Americans.
Well, the way that was worded was a bit weird. And if you read just the headline, then it does sound like we're just total assholes. But when I read deeper into that, it sounded like what was being said was, I would like to buy a quantity of this, and that quantity can only be used on Americans. Not, I would like to buy the exclusive rights to this that I will.
It definitely came out as if he was saying exclusive rights.
Right. That's how the headline came out. If you actually read the whole article, it sounds more like he was trying to secure an amount of it, not only for Americans, fuck you, Germany sort of thing, which is how a lot of people read it and accepted it. I'm not one to defend Trump, but I think in this case that was misconstrued a little bit.
I mean, that's good to know, because that's just lost faith in humanity at that point. If
right, yeah. I mean, obviously Germany, if that was the case, they wouldn't be like, sure, fuck us.
That makes sense.
Best trade deal ever. I knew Trump was a good dealer. But yeah, I don't know. What I was gonna say was, until there is a vaccine, I mean, there's gonna be some percentage of people that have it. And so leaving your house is going to give you a chance to contract it. Like, until there's a vaccine, what is the plan? Like, you can quarantine all you want, but then the moment everyone lifts those quarantines, it just starts spreading again.
Indefinite work from home. I heard it.
No one's saying that.
Everybody will become YouTube celebrity.
Oh, Lord, what a nightmare we're living in, if that's the case.
God, I would be very, very curious on, in the next 6 months, how much does YouTube and Twitch increase in their content percentage?
Well, viewership is up on Twitch.
Sure, because people got nothing else to do.
Yes, right. Well, there's the people that are working from home. If you're watching this and you're on the clock, you're not supposed to be, but please like and subscribe.
Well, keep doing it.
Yeah.
Just keep rolling.
I mean, when you're working from home, so that's something, I had to learn work ethic a long time ago whenever I ran my web hosting company. to know, to get work done, because that's a hard mentality to get into at first. Whenever you go from working a 9 to 5 in an office where if you're not doing your work, someone's gonna be looking at you, to now working from home and just doing what you want and making sure you still get your job done. Um, there's gonna be a lot of people that don't do a good job at first. I feel like, you know what I
Hmm.
mean.
No, I agree. I agree.
I mean, you work from home like on occasion.
On occasion. I mean, but the thing is, honestly, the main difference that I have when I'm working from home is I'll have the TV on in the background and I'll walk around my house and, get some little things here and there done. When I'm at the office, I have a big office to myself that has a door without a window on it. So I'll occasionally, when I need to get something done, I'll shut the door and I'll do whatever I need to do there too. So, I mean, it's nobody goes to work and says, I can't say nobody because there are people that do it, that, 100% of their work day is dedicated to work.
right. But more of it than when you're at home, for sure.
I don't know. I feel like I waste a lot of time just running in between different meetings that people decide to set up because you're there.
I guess it depends on the work environment, really.
Yeah, yeah, it really does. And my campus is pretty damn big, so it takes it's gonna take 10 minutes to walk from my office to the emergency department for a meeting. Like it's that far away. So
Um, yeah, I know when I first started working from home, that's why I still smoke pot. Not a great combo, I'll tell you. There were definitely days where I would just get high in the mornings and then be like, I don't think I'm gonna work.
wasn't it your own business though?
Yeah, it was.
So I mean, are you docking your own pay?
Yeah. That was and maybe that was why it was so easy to learn pretty quickly. Like, if I don't do this work, ain't nobody else coming along to do it. So like, and I ain't gonna get paid. Ain't nobody getting paid. So, I mean, maybe that's even, maybe I had an easier time of the importance of learning how to work from home because it required, be putting food on my own table. But I feel like that's less the case with these people that are suddenly get home, have never worked from home before in their life. Now they're like, shit, I can just sit and watch movies all day. Like, I wonder how they're monitoring. I mean, I guess it's different for every company, right? Like,
Yeah, I was gonna say the whole world is really tech based at this point. That you're probably way more companies that already have some work from home, even if they don't offer work from home. Like my company apparently has this policy about not working from home. We have a whole huge work from home infrastructure though, a whole like remote desktop and this, that, the other. Because physicians need to get in from home to put in orders on patients when they're not there, and so even if you're not supposed to do it, there's clearly an infrastructure to do it.
right. I wonder how many companies are going to adopt this beyond. Like, well, that worked out all right. Let's always let you work from home.
So it's funny to find out how my organization is acting about it now, because I was just in a leadership meeting a couple of weeks ago where they were talking about cost saving ideas, and one of the big ideas that came up from our finance people was trying to promote teleworking more because of how much it can save you if done right on facility space for offices and things like that. You get like a set of hot swap or swap desks that people can come in when they're on site and use, but they're not ever your desk.
Mm-hmm.
And then you work from home and you don't have to deal with having the facilities and how much money it has been proven to save when it's set up right in organizations.
That's interesting.
And so it's clearly not unheard of for the people, the newer, the younger thinkers in there to be like, pushing and trying to do, even when, so I can see some places might start to realize that, holy shit, like we're not paying for toilet paper anymore.
No one is.
You can't even get on the shelf, right? Yeah, nobody is. But you're paying for less, people who supply coffee. You're not paying for coffee anymore. Maybe your bottled waters or your big jugs of water, like simple things that just you give to employees because they're there.
Right.
Your overhead on that's going down.
Right. I remember there was one of the companies I used to work for. They, provided all that stuff in the break room. And I remember reading about how, or in fact, I'd visited a Microsoft here in Raleigh and saw how, they or it was IBM actually, not Microsoft. But they just had just everything available. Like, you just, snack time, come in and grab some chips and some drinks and everything. Sodas, whatever. It's all free. Versus my work was like, we can't afford to give you coffee anymore. Now you got to pay a quarter for your little coffee pods and all. I mean, look, I didn't drink coffee, but it was just like this huge difference between one workplace to another, like the costs and like how the company's trying to offset those costs and stuff. or value their employees, I guess, with these
Yeah.
things that.
Well, and that's the problem is you offset the cost. So on paper it might look better, but when you have to factor in so many more things like the employee satisfaction and therefore how long do you work there and your
Right.
shit, what is it called? Your not your turnover, but it's a fancier word for turnover. But your yeah. So got to figure that in to see if you're turning more people over, therefore you're paying to hire on new people, which is a lot more to onboard somebody than it is to keep somebody. Can you
Right.
attribute it to that 25 cents you're charging for a cup of coffee and realize that maybe it was worth it?
Well, I hope you guys are paying for your own coffee. I don't know. We are out of time though. I had
All right,
my
guys.
transition. Thanks for watching. Stay safe.
See ya.
Bye.